Hello dear students and my dear friends. Most of the students, they are asking me that what is algorithm? Many of students, they want to know something about algorithm because it is very important topic to learn programming languages. About the programming languages, we will discuss definitely in the future classes. But today we will try to understand what is algorithm. You might be knowing to become perfect in the programming languages, you must be good enough in designing the algorithms. That is why this topic is always treated as important topic. Let us start with the topic. Definition of algorithm. Try to understand, students, what is the definition of algorithm. First I will read this and then I will explain. It is a step-by-step procedure to solve particular problem. Assume that we have given some task to the computer. Now that has to be carried out or that has to be solved step by step. If you write some instructions step by step to solve the problem, that is called as algorithm. Now what do you mean by step-by-step procedure to solve the particular problem? If I'll take one example, addition of two numbers, you have to write step-by-step instruction. What do you mean by step-by-step instruction? In computer coding or programming, we have to give the computer a clear instruction that is also step-by-step. How it is? Assume that if I will take example of addition of two numbers 10 plus 20, what will be the first step according to you? You might get confusion here. The first step is read. What? Read, or you can call it as take, or you can treat it as input two numbers. First step is take two numbers. What? Take two numbers and then store in the memory, that is the second step. Then carry out addition, that is the third step. Then display the result, that is the fourth step. Now this we have to write in the particular format, that is what we call it as algorithm. A step-by-step procedure to solve particular problem. See, I am talking about a particular problem here. That is what? Sum of two numbers. Did you understood, students? Let us go to the characteristics of algorithm. What do you mean by characteristics of algorithm? See, whenever you are writing an algorithm, you need to keep some things in your mind. Definitely you have to understand the characteristics very perfectly. Why? Because if you don't keep the characteristics in your mind, your algorithm is not treated as an algorithm. What are those characteristics? First one is input. As I told, I will give 10, 20 plus, these are all called as an input. But there are some rules. What are the rules? When you are writing algorithm, it may accept 0 or more inputs. There must be 0 or more inputs. In my case, I have given 10, 20 as an input, right? You can ask me, sir, why it is a 0 input? Many of the time while writing the program, we are not giving input from the keyboard. Directly we are assigning the values like A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. That means here there is no input. That is what we call it as a 0 input. If you supply the data 10, 20 through the keyboard, then only it is treated as an input. That means in my example, I have two inputs that is entered through the keyboard. If you want to assign A equal to 10, B equal to 20, that is also correct. But at that time, I will say that there is no inputs, that is a 0 input, because we are assigning the values in the program itself. Got it? Let us go to the next, that is output. It should produce at least one output. See the students, when you are calculating something, when you are doing something in the computer, definitely you are accepting one result, that is 10 plus 20, we are accepting result as a 30. It should display the result 30. That is the objective of the problem, right? When you are writing algorithm, please do remember that there must be at least one output. Even you can ask me, sir, if there are more than one outputs, definitely it is possible. If you take an example of total of the marks and average of the marks of a student. If I want to display total marks of the student and average marks of the student, then there will be two outputs. It is possible. You can give 3 outputs, 4 outputs, but at least one should be there. You cannot say there are 0 output. No, at least one output must be there in the algorithm. Let us go to the next. Definiteness. Each instruction must be very clear. Definiteness means whenever you are writing algorithm, the instruction must be very clear. What do you mean by very clear? There should not be any confusion. When you are writing instruction, write it in very simple manner so that other reader can also understand. That is what we call it as each instruction must be very clear. There is no ambiguity, there is no confusion. There should not be any confusion. Okay. Last but one is finiteness. What do you mean by finiteness? It should be a sequence of finite instruction. Finite instruction means what? How many instructions are there in your algorithm? Take an example. I have taken 10 plus 20. What I told, have you remembered? Read 10, 20, store it in memory, add both the numbers and then display the result. How many instructions are there? 4 instructions are there. The 4 is a finite number. If your problem is complex, little bit complex, it may become 10 instruction or 20 instruction. Fine, 20 instruction means it is also a finite number. You cannot say that I have a infinite instructions. No, there must be what? Finite instruction. It should end. If you start from 1, it should end to 10 or 20 or 30. Fine, no problem. It depends on the problem. How many steps are there? 30 steps are there. No problem. You cannot say infinite steps are there. No, that is not algorithm, because characteristics of algorithm says that it should be a sequence of finite instructions. Got it? And last one is effectiveness. The operation must be very simple and must carry out in finite time. Whatever you are carrying out that operation, whether it is addition, subtraction, multiplication, okay, it must be a very simple manner. There should not be any complications and it must be carried out in the finite time. If you take a pencil and paper, it should be analyzed very easily. That is what we call it as effectiveness. The operations must be very simple, must be carried out with the finite time. So these are all the very important characteristics of algorithm. Now depending on understanding this, we will try to understand the problems to code the program. If you are good enough in algorithm writing, you can code the program. That is what very important. That is why every lecturer or professor is telling that please be perfect in the algorithm. Okay, that's all for today's class. We will continue with the next class. Thank you very much.